Oh, hi there. Welcome to Theater Creatures. I am joined by the tenant to my Inception, the tenant to my Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
You're too smart for your own good.
There it is.
Welcome to Theater Creatures. My name is Bren. This is Nikki.
Welcome.
It is Sunday,
It is.
July the 19th.
Yes, it is.
19th.
Yes.
Which means we are 3 days removed from the new Christopher Nolan film, The Odyssey. You might have heard of this movie.
It might have come across your feed somewhere.
This is the biggest movie of the year to a certain extent. In terms of scale, in terms of build and anticipation, in terms of budget, this is a $250 million movie.
Yeah.
I shockingly have a lot less thoughts about it than I thought I would.
Yeah, I would agree. I was wowed.
Yes,
Still,
certainly.
this is still a holy heck he did this.
Yeah.
This is a crazy film.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it landed with me as much as I wanted or expected it to.
For sure.
There were a lot of, not a lot, but there were some key missing elements that I think would have made it more for me specifically. But
I agree.
I do also respect that he was trying to make a grounded in humanity version of this film, which
is wrong-headed to a certain extent.
Yeah, because it's supposed
especially
to
as fans of the book.
Especially as fans of the 2,000-year-old text. There are elements of the original story that I wish were applied here that would have made it better.
Yeah.
But it was still a damn good film.
Yeah, and that was kind of what the idea was, or at least the conversation that we had going into this movie is this is a weird film for him to be making, for Christopher Nolan specifically to be making.
Yeah.
I've been saying it when talking about this movie with people that are like uninitiated and kind of don't know the deal, like non-movie people.
Yeah.
When they're like, Brendan, why have you been vibrating for 3 weeks? And it's like, because I'm going to see The Odyssey.
Yeah.
This is his first film to not feature firearms.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think is a big deal. He is a very grounded realist when it comes to his movies. He's a very human-oriented director. Those are the stories he's willing to tell, and wants to tell is those that are about the human condition and about family, and about angst and
almost soul searching to a degree.
Yeah.
I would say.
And when you have a grandiose, sword and sandal movie like this, that features gods and monsters and holy damnation and curses and there's something that kind of story requires that is new for a Nolan movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think he exactly hits the mark.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my issues with this movie do come back to him.
Yeah.
Where it's my biggest issues with this movie before we just start gushing about it for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe we should gush first.
Yeah.
And then get into it a little bit.
I would first like to add that this is a rendition of the Odyssey from its most recent translation.
Yes.
That is the first translation written by a woman.
Okay.
Now, I have not read this. I probably should. We probably should find it and read it.
Yeah.
But just to throw that out there, that this is a different translation and interpretation of the Odyssey than we have seen before, which may contribute a bit to the more humanization of everything.
Yeah.
Rather than the, Odysseus and his hubris and things like that.
This movie being, or this adaptation being written by a woman, this film is also edited by a woman, which is interesting. Not necessarily interesting, but good to see.
But good
Shout
to see.
out.
We love that.
Women in the trades. There is, this movie is not beating the allegations that Chris Nolan does not care about his female characters.
Yeah.
Or that the female characters in his stories don't necessarily have agency.
Yeah.
Because there are 3 big ones.
There are 5 women in the film in total.
Yes, so we
I
have
think that have any sort of speaking lines at all.
yes.
Yeah.
Those being Penelope,
Penelope,
played by the wonderful Anne Hathaway, who is kind of the best part of this movie.
Yes.
Irregardless of the urgency she holds in her own story.
Right.
Which is, I mean, is to the point of the character to a certain extent that she is waiting and holding everybody else up.
Yeah.
You have Helen of Troy, the great Lupita Nyong'o, who is seen and not necessarily heard.
I feel like to a degree by a certain character she's not heard. She's heard by another, which never comes back around, and I'm kind of mad about it.
Yeah.
But I understand where that's like kind of not the point of the film.
Yeah, you have Charlize Theron as Calypso, who, if any of them are holding the most stakes in the story, it's her.
Yeah.
And I think she's kind of okay in this movie.
They don't give her much.
No.
She does not have a lot to work with. She's got a very repetitive script.
Yeah.
Which I think is important.
It's, hey, Matt Damon, tell me about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It does kind of push a little bit. It's a good excuse for expose.
Yep. Of which there is a lot.
There is a lot, and there's a lot to hear and a lot to see and that sort of thing. And then
I don't know the madam's name that plays Cersei.
I can't think of her name either.
She's pretty good.
She is a rather big British actress,
yes.
I believe.
We'll put it here.
Yeah, somewhere. And then Mia Goth.
And Mia Goth. I forgot about Mia Goth.
Yep.
Who is doing some stuff in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's
conniving.
She's in the film.
She's in the film. Yeah, but she's there. She exists.
If nothing else, this movie is a masterwork of pacing, and of spectacle and of scale.
Yes.
Because there are sequences in this movie that are some of the most awe-inspiring that I've seen in a while, at least this year.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking specifically of the Siege of Troy.
Oh my gosh.
Like the whole,
perhaps my favorite part of the film.
It's the best part of the movie, bar none. The whole Trojan horse of it all
is fantastic.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
Man, them daisy chaining it across the logs to pull it into the city is fucking funny.
As, bless my little historian heart.
Yeah.
I did not go into this with any sort of historical accuracy in mind.
Who
because
gives
I was
look at the fucking,
it's the Odyssey.
Look at the fucking state of Agamemnon.
We are talking about gods and monsters.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about historical accuracy.
I did have some issues with some monster designs. I'll get to that.
We will talk
about monster designs.
But the siege, that whole dragging the horse from the beach into the city is so freaking
and then
cool.
Them coming out of the horse.
I need to sit and watch this again.
Yeah.
Because I would love to watch that specific scene one more time.
Yeah.
How did they not hear the horse opening? That's my only thing. That's a real big one issue that I had. There are 3 guards standing there, and they don't hear anything, and I'm like, that seems a little sus.
Don't you know Greece is really loud at nighttime?
Oh, you know.
All
those torches, man.
All the torches.
All that fire crackling.
I was going to say cicadas, but I don't think they have those. Maybe locusts?
Other bugs?
BCE bugs.
That's crazy.
Whatever bugs existed in the BCE.
All ones that'll carry you away. Ones that are dragging your children out of the house.
I would have loved that monster in this movie.
Yeah. No. Anywho.
But that whole sequence is incredible. The sets that they build for that are incredible, and then subsequently burn down.
Yeah. Yeah. The storm scenes, I think, are particularly invigorating.
On the boats. Yep.
Those are I mean, I was holding my breath at certain points.
Yeah.
So those are very emotion invoking, I suppose. But
there is a I was shocked when I got out of this movie and just kind of went, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
same. Like and then on the drive home I was like, oh yeah, let's talk about Evil Dead Burn for a little bit.
Yeah.
So like the fact that I came out of a Nolan movie and then my first instinct was to talk about a different movie.
Just compare it to a different movie.
Is not a great sign.
Yeah.
especially one that cost a fraction of the price that this one did.
Right.
You know, but there is something big that is missing from this movie. There is an otherworldliness to this movie that is lacking.
Yes.
I don't think most of the performances are particularly great. I would be shocked if anyone gets nominated for an acting award for this movie.
I would too.
I think this movie is going to get nominated for a lot of technical things.
Yes.
It will
Which I think it deserves.
Yeah, it's a shoo-in for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Because it's a Nolan movie, it would almost have to be nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
But as far, like, I don't think Matt Damon is particularly good in this movie. I find him kind of boring.
Yeah.
And the way that they write Odysseus in this movie is very interesting. He's kind of just a radical badass.
The further away from the film I get, the more and more I dislike Odysseus as a character.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have the same drive. He doesn't have the same, like, I need to... It feels very bland.
Yeah.
And very normal.
Yeah. And he's playing it very straight. And I think I said it when we first got out. There was no point in this movie that I wasn't realizing that I was looking at Matt Damon.
Yeah, the entire time.
And that is not a problem that other Nolan movies have with A-list stars. Like, when you're watching Oppenheimer, I was pretty much like, I wasn't actively aware that I was looking at Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
I think the same thing with The Dark Knight. It's like, I know that's Christian Bale, but I'm losing him in that performance.
I felt that way watching Inception for the first time with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I was like, wow, this is impressive.
Yeah.
Just how much I'm able to... Because I don't feel that way with other films that he's in, but that one specifically, like, wow, it's impressive.
I think One Battle, to a certain extent.
One Battle is also...
He's very transformed in that movie. Yeah. But... And I think, again, that falls back on Nolan not knowing how to direct. I don't want to say he doesn't know how to direct, but maybe he wasn't interested in making those performances more grand.
He had a very specific mindset, I think, when it came to directing these actors as these characters very specifically.
It felt very secondary to everything else that was happening.
Yes, he wanted to show, not tell.
And maybe that's just because we are coming out of Oppenheimer, which is so character driven, and the performances there are so specific.
They rely on those characters and those actors to make the rest of the film inspire and feel big, whereas this felt opposite, where he focused a lot of his attention on the surroundings and the sets and the things that were happening rather than the characters' reaction to those things happening or them doing things about it.
And I think that comes from the source material,
right?
It's all plot. And this movie is all plot. Like, you get a couple scenes, like I also think Tom Holland is, I'm going to say, bad in this movie. I would say
particularly uninteresting.
I am not a Tom Holland guy. I have never been even moderately impressed by a Tom Holland performance. Mm-hmm. I find him to be pretty much a dull spot in whatever he's in. Mm-hmm. I know he's married to Zendaya and is richer than I'll ever be.
Yeah.
So I can criticize his performance. I'm sure he's a wonderful fellow.
Oh yeah.
But the modernization of the dialogue is really taking me out of the movie.
Yeah, and I was reading someone's review of this film about that specifically. Yeah. They were very upset that Tom Holland's Telemachus was calling Odysseus dad.
Yeah.
And I agree. I was very surprised that they didn't try to, all House of the Dragon pilled currently, try to medievalize it to a degree and use father and mother instead. And the rebuke that this person was getting was, well, he wouldn't have called him father either because it was, whatever, ancient Greece or whatnot.
Yes.
Yes, I understand that.
But what would the translation have been?
Exactly. And it's one of those things. That's not an argument to make. It's probably not the same.
Yeah.
But it's still, to us, sounds really silly. Walking out of this movie, I turned to you and I said it would have been a better film if they were all British.
I 100% agree.
I hate to say that. I actually hate to say that. But the American accents really pulled me out of the story as a whole.
Especially when it's characters that we know to be British. Like,
Yes,
the act, like, why is Robert Pattinson doing a fucking voice in this movie?
Yeah,
why is he not just talking like Robert
Tom
Pattinson?
Holland. Yeah.
And maybe it's because Tom Holland couldn't say father without sounding like a fucking British person.
And that makes
and that once again
sense.
falls back on you cast Matt Damon as the lead, and you have to shape the entire movie around Matt Damon.
Yeah.
My argument that I came out with was it should have been Bernthal. I think Bernthal as Odysseus is an infinitely better movie. John Bernthal,
cross my heart.
I love you so much. Come on the podcast,
please.
But it's really the performances that are kind of yucking it up, and that are just like chewing on all the scenery around them, because there's so much there for you to work with.
Yeah,
you have these massive sets and this massive scale of a movie and this huge sandbox to play in. Like, take a swing.
Let them play.
Like, I think Charlize is kind of boring in this movie because they don't really do anything. I think Zendaya is pretty underwhelming. Like, there is a lack of a motivation or an otherworldly hand that is sort of moving chess pieces around the board. The grounding of this movie takes away the cursing and the curse nature of the voyage, and how there is actively forces at play that are preventing him from coming home. It really just makes him seem like a doofus that's fucking up at work. To the point that like his middle management has to go to him and be like, dude, we're taking it over from here because you're fucking everything up.
I think that there is still a manipulative quality of Odysseus, where not maliciously. I don't think that it's anything malicious, but you really get that in the Scylla versus the Whirlpool scene. I can't remember what the Whirlpool's name is, but where he makes that executive decision to lie and say, you know, we're going to go, let's do this. And then he's defied immediately. But it ends up saving most of his men.
He tries to. It follows suit of him trying to directly denounce the gods. You know, I was given two choices here, and these are the two ways that I was told that I'm going to get home. And it's either one is going to kill my whole crew or one is going to kill 6 members of my crew. I have an idea that I can lose no crew of like going up and around the whirlpool, using it to kind of gravitate to it. And again, he's openly defied by his crew, and they're like, no, we're going to go through, you know, this way. And it really takes away, it's his crew taking away,
leadership quality. They're openly defying the person that they have been looking towards for, at this point, you know, 13 years. And so far, while they were in Troy, they trusted his judgment. But the further away they get from Troy, you can see them and all of his goofy little fuck-ups. They're like, no, we no longer trust you and your judgment, and you know, you saved us from Cersei, but I don't know how further we can follow you.
And there is lost
so many.
There is a lack of the element of fate. And of having outside sources determine that fate. You know, and it weakens the character and it simplifies the character. And the movie does not ever settle on him really trying to get home. It specifically does the opposite.
It's him saying, I don't want to go home. Or I don't know why I should go home, or what I'm going home to. Or what I will be perceived as when I go home. And I think I think there is a interesting parallel to that when you see Telemachus with Menelaus. And how Menelaus, is talking about his life and Helen and, you know, since Troy and everything that's happened to him, and how he is ruling Sparta with a pretty decent outcome. And he has the respect as king and everything. Agamemnon came home and got murked immediately. And so Menelaus's judgment of it is, it's probably best Odysseus doesn't come home. He's got all these people in his house. He's got a wife who may or may not still believe in his existence, you know, him being alive. And it's probably best he doesn't. But then you have the whole conversations and everything, the recounting that Odysseus is doing with Calypso.
Mhm.
And you see the certain elements of him wanting to go home, and him, the compass is
Lotus
pointed,
preventing him,
yeah,
or preventing
the
him
compass
from.
is pointed in the right direction,
Yeah.
even under the influence of an outside source. And that was a really big thing that I had a problem with, was that Odysseus as a character denied the Lotus.
Yeah.
In every instance that he could, he was like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I want to go home.
Mhm.
This is the whole point of this character, is I want to go home.
Yeah.
So I find the approach, as I said, to this war-stricken, PTSD having man,
Yeah.
and how that is the Odysseus that Nolan preferred or fell closer to,
Yeah.
than the Odysseus who would defy all odds to get home, even so much as purposely killing his men.
Yeah.
Like, he is told that my men are going to die and I'm the only one who can get home.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and keep him alive, but at a certain point he just starts killing him. I also think an interesting omission was the omission of what else Odysseus does at Troy.
Yeah.
Which I think would have been a very heavier guilt factor on him if they had included the infanticide.
Yeah.
Not to see this baby die, but I feel like that is a really big, that is part of Odysseus's guilt.
Yeah.
Is that he was told by the gods he has to kill this baby. And he's like, I don't want to kill this baby.
Yeah. And there's guilt for the character, but it's ill-placed.
Yeah,
I think.
It's very oddly.
And I understand the point of the movie and the thought process that Nolan was having of the heartbeat of this movie being, how did we learn to treat each other so poorly? And have that be accepted.
Yeah.
Zeus's law. How did we become comfortable and have it be not only, normalized but accepted to defy that law of treating other people harshly and an individualistic nature to it all, especially in, what we're seeing now in the United States, also what we're seeing now in his native England.
Yeah.
More self-focused and self-centered governing.
Individualization is so high right now.
It's a survival of the fittest, where we are neglectful of the poor and the sick and the traveler.
Mm-hmm. That is a very, very good point. And the inclusion of the travelers and the mythology of the beggars, I think, is very important.
Yeah.
And that does give a little bit more credence to, the respect of the gods that exists a little bit.
And by not including by having that be the center point of the movie and having that be the guilt that Odysseus is stricken with. Yeah. It simplifies the character and it flattens out the story. Because when you don't have the titular character being the sort of driving force of, the story, and have him be the moral center of the story, you have to look elsewhere for that. Yeah. And when you're looking elsewhere, besides Matt Damon in this movie, who do you see the most? It's Tom fucking Holland, and he's bad. Yeah. And he's really underwhelming, and he's really boring, and he seems to have half of a motivation at all to do anything. Yeah. Like, it would be more of a story if it was him finally being like, I am going to claim the throne, and I am going to, not to get super Game of Thrones about it, but like, I am going to claim the seat. And then you have like him and Penelope kind of going at each other. Yeah.
I did think that the push for female agency from Penelope specifically, and that little spat that they have, where she's like, you would have it just because you're, a man and you're my son, and like, but I have sat this throne for 20 years now without my husband. Yeah. And he tries so hard to be like, yes, women, with that, but then immediately squishes that.
But also she doesn't leave the castle.
But like, she doesn't have any authority whatsoever, and so much that she can't get these men out of her house.
The only time she does anything kind of for herself is when Odysseus tells her and is like, we're gonna do this competition, this is what we're gonna do. Yeah. And like, yeah, obviously that's like the biggest moment of the story,
mm-hmm.
and that's the biggest moment of like the entire poem.
Yeah.
Is the return of Odysseus in that way.
Yeah.
But by having that scene devolve into a John Wick-esque Odysseus just kicking the shit out of people for 10 minutes, it flattens out the movie, and this is just the most lacking Nolan movie in a very long, probably since The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Of like, there's too much plot to get in here, because that movie is again the culmination of a trilogy, so there's a lot that has to happen.
Yeah. I'm also with the bloody massacre that you had just mentioned that occurs when Odysseus comes home. I have very mixed feelings about that scene, because to a degree I feel like it should have been more violent. I feel
Nolan's kind of a prude when it comes to that.
And like that whole return of Odysseus and in the poem is so bloody and so
there
nasty.
Should have been more savagery.
It's because it's Odysseus coming home and realizing his home has been disrespected for so long, and that, you know, how quickly Zeus's law is taken advantage of, and, you know, used against the people that are offering this hospitality and that sort of thing. And the whole point of that scene was that, or the whole point of that part of the story was that they were going after Penelope anyway. Yeah. They didn't care about the challenge, they didn't care about any of that, and that was where Telemachus's big dilemma is he's like, I cannot defend my mother physically against all of these individuals. And Odysseus comes in and realizes this amount of disrespect and slaughters everybody. Yeah. Like, and that is part of that godly hand that has touched him, you know, and who is at his back the entire thing is Athena, which is not the case. Athena does turn her back on him, but you know, that's because of what happens at Troy. But like, it's, I don't know.
And it just shows like the importance of having a character that makes sense to the actor, to the director, to the way that they're being shot. And again, to do one of my favorite things, which is steer completely out of the way to shit on Marvel, is like when you have a movie that is so plot centric and it's just to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. Even when those next things are the coolest shit you've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, the Cyclops sequence is breathtaking and scary in this movie, and it looks incredible. Yeah. And all of the seafaring and the storms and the way that those are portrayed. Yeah. And you have the Battle of Troy. You have them fighting the weird giants in the woods. I think the scene with Cersei where they all get turned into pigs is spectacular and haunting. Insane. But when you lack that character depth, which I do think is the biggest misstep of this movie, is just the lead character entirely. Yeah. It really shortens the movie, and it really takes away sort of the stakes of what the movie is doing. And I respect Nolan for what he's trying to get across, and I think it's important. But for this particular story, and again, maybe it's just my expectations were too high. Maybe I was going too far based on the story itself and the source material.
Me going into it expecting Epic the Musical. Yeah.
But when you lose that, you lose a lot to the story. Yeah. And it can only be so good. Like, I felt pretty shallow coming out of this movie of like, yep, it was what it was. Yeah. And it's a movie that certainly looks like the Odyssey. Yeah. And it's beautiful. Yeah. I think it's stunning. The cinematography is fantastic. There is a little bit of an editing issue that I have specifically towards the beginning. I think the first half an hour is pretty shoddy. Yeah. Just because there's a lot of exposition to get in. Yeah. Hathaway is the best, like, knockout performance in this movie. I think John Leguizamo's fucking incredible in this movie.
I love him
John
so
Leguizamo,
much.
we love you so much. Come on the podcast. Mwah. All the characters that are really yucking it up and really hamming it up and really taking all the scenery that they have around them and chewing on it.
Yeah.
And like Bernthal is amazing in this movie.
John Bernthal.
In the few scenes that Lupita Nyong'o has, she's spectacular. She's terrifying.
I was gonna hit on that next.
Lupita Nyong'o, we love you so much. Come on the podcast.
She is so perfect.
Yeah.
In the role that she is in.
Elliot Page is really good in the movie.
So good.
Really like is kind of the heart. It is the lingering ghost of the movie.
Sinon haunts the narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 100%. Many of the characters.
Yeah.
And if that was where Odysseus's like trauma and not necessarily trauma, but if that is where his remorse comes from, and his guilt is like, I sacrificed this character that I was meant to protect. This little boy that I dragged into battle, that
I watched grow from a 12-year-old to what he was in his final moments because of me.
And I turned him to a martyr for the sake of this victory.
Yeah.
Then what really was the victory for? How am I any better than Robert Pattinson's character?
Yeah.
Who damned Sinon to go to war anyway.
Yeah.
Like that is where you could have found that guilt in Odysseus of like him losing his men.
Yeah.
But when you have him say, I'm outwardly defying the gods.
Yeah.
And I do not believe in curses or fate or anything like that. I shall make my own,
Yeah.
But then have him find that guilt and regret in Zeus's law towards the end.
Yeah.
And then have him do what he does. It really just, it's him setting up his own expectations and then not meeting them.
Yes.
Which is really unsatisfying to a story.
Yeah.
But that scene of Elliot Page, being kind of that spooky, ghostly coming out of the ground.
And what I think is that's the first person that he speaks with.
Yeah.
Instead of his king.
Yeah. Again, that's where his guilt is coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would have made so much more sense to have him settle in and get home and be like, I'm home, but I lost everything. What was it all for?
What was the
Yeah. And to draw your moral center from that, I think is so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Because again, I think I gave this movie 4 stars on Letterboxd. Follow us on Letterboxd, by the way. Wolfman_BE_pro.
Nikki Brew 11.
We'll plug all the stuff down below, we usually do. It's been a while.
Look to him for updates, though. I update rarely.
Yeah, I'm on there. You can follow me. But again, everything else in this movie is pristine.
Yeah.
And I will totally understand all the people that come out of this and say, this is the greatest movie I saw all year. And this is it is the biggest movie of the year. Nothing else is, Doomsday is not going to be a movie. So
right.
that movie's not going to be worth a goddamn. So, I could totally understand people coming out of this movie and being like, this is the greatest movie of the year.
Yeah.
But it is, I have no problem with Matt Damon.
No.
Although this is the second Nolan movie that Matt Damon kind of biffs on. Looking at you, Interstellar. Where Matt Damon just coming in is like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely worth seeing. Go see it on a fucking big screen.
Go see it in IMAX.
Go see it in IMAX if you can. We saw it in Dolby Atmos, which was pretty sweet. We didn't catch the 70 millimeter, guys. Maybe at the inevitable re-release at the end of the year, we'll drive to a different city to go to. There's an IMAX screen in Orlando.
Yeah.
So we did not get the 70 millimeter, but so definitely check this out. It's despite the however long we just spent criticizing it and going with, it's because all of the other stuff is a shoo-in for, of course it's good because it's a Nolan movie. Again, this is hovering around a 4-star picture here for me at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, the stuff that we would have gushed about is the stuff that it comes with the territory of it being a Nolan film. That doesn't mean that it's not excellent, it means it's
Yeah.
particularly excellent to the point that it's not worth, for the sake of criticism, it's not worth
Right.
mentioning. Like, again, we can only talk about how great the cinematography and the shot,
Yeah.
like the shot composition in this movie.
Exactly.
I think the mixing is really, really good in this movie, which
Mhm.
people sometimes have issues with Nolan mixing.
Yeah.
I thought the dialogue came through strong.
Yeah.
It was very loud, for sure.
It was very, very loud.
Um,
There are like not like the sensory safe showings
Yeah,
of this.
that might be nice.
So I think that would be a
Yeah.
an interesting watch to see what they pull from that and change.
Yeah.
And how they rectify that.
Mhm.
Apparently the composer, I'm not sure who they had doing the music for this.
I forget their name.
But they used a lyre for when he strings his bow, when
Mhm.
Odyssey strings his bow,
Yeah.
and I really like
Pretty
that.
cool
That
sound design there.
consistency is really good.
The costume design is great.
Fantastic.
Again, I have a little bit of an issue with like creature design stuff.
Yeah.
But
despite all those things,
yeah.
it's fantastic.
It's
Highly
great.
recommend seeing on the big screen for sure.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
you'd miss a lot if you don't.
So, like, yeah, the people that are like, I'm just gonna. This is why you need to go to the theater.
Go to
everybody,
the theater, support your local theaters.
We have to keep the movies going,
Yes.
and it seems now like we're at a point where people are making stuff that's worth seeing.
Exactly.
And people are going to see it. So go see it in the biggest screen that you can find it in.
Yep.
The biggest, loudest screen that you can find it in. If you can hit that 70 millimeter,
do
hey,
it.
if you already saw this in 70 millimeter IMAX and thought it was sick or thought it was, however, let us know down in the comments below.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Odyssey? What is your favorite Nolan movie?
Yeah.
My favorite Nolan movie is Interstellar because I am a 20-something film snob on the internet.
There it is. I don't believe I have a favorite. Interstellar is a fantastic movie. I recognize them all for really good films.
Yeah.
I can't pick a favorite off the dome.
That's fair.
So, I'll say Inception because that was pretty
Inception's
wild.
A great movie. Great movie. Coming out of the movie Poop Shoot for the next few weeks, at least through the month of July, we have Her Private Hell.
Yes.
With Sophie Thatcher coming out. I believe that's this upcoming week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big honkin' boy Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Star of this film, Tom Holland. Golly gee willikers, it's another 30-year-old teenager. We'll probably, unfortunately, be going to see that movie, and maybe I'll be wrong about it, and I'll eat my hat. And then the first big weekend of August, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma.
Yes.
Which is super exciting. So you just might as well give us a follow.
Yeah.
Hit the little notification bell and be notified whenever we post. We are pumping out all kinds of stuff. We're just pumping stuff out. So you should follow us on Instagram at theater_creatures. It will be linked down below. If you feel like following us individually, go for it, or don't. It's whatever. Follow us on Letterboxd, Wolfman_BE_pro.
Nikki Brew 11.
And those will also be linked below. We should also be having our return to a long format with our podcast. So our Spotify will be down there as well.
You should check it out.
We will also probably upload a version of it here on YouTube. So you'll get it. You're getting it on both ends from our content. Until next time, have a great day. Drink your water and pass out love, because why the fuck not?